Welcome to the Wizard of Radical Self-Respect. My name is Jared Mello. Today we're going to talk about what is gray rock. And at the end, I'm going to give you 2 tips on how to implement this technique a little easier. But first, what is gray rock? Gray rock is a technique used with narcissistic people and other abusers when we can't go no contact. Examples of this would be in co-parenting, or in the workplace, or with family sometimes. And the goal of this technique is to be as boring as possible, to show as few emotions as possible, to not overshare or share any personal information about yourself any more than is necessary, to not jade, justify, argue, defend, or explain, and to otherwise just be boring and to be flat. And the goal of doing this is to not give the narcissistic person any supply. Because narcissistic people, they love to bait others, they love to provoke others, they love to try to push people's buttons, provoke them, get under their skin. Because when they make other people upset, and they make other people angry, and they give them reactions, it gives the narcissistic person supply. It makes them feel superior, and it makes them feel powerful. That's why the antidote is to not get sucked into it. And it's just as important to not get sucked into the positive emotions they want to give you too, as it is to not get sucked into the negative. But the antidote, like I said, do not jade, justify, argue, defend, or explain. Be boring, be calm, be dispassionate. Those are the solutions here. And a couple tips on how to do that. The first is to see the narcissistic person as the emotional 5-year-old that they are. Emotionally speaking, they are a 5-year-old. And if a 5-year-old was trying to provoke us, if a 5-year-old was trying to get under our skin, it probably would take a lot more for it to really work and to make us upset. So we have to see them as the emotional 5-year-old that they really are. And this will help us practice gray rock. The other tip that I have is the broken record technique. The broken record technique is exactly what it sounds like, where we repeat the boundary over and over, where if they ask us a question and the answer is no, we repeat no, and we say we won't. And it's important to say we won't as opposed to we can't, because can't can be interpreted as a debate where they'll try to convince you that you can. It's important to say, I won't do this. Or another example would be, I have to be home at 7 o'clock. And they might come at it in 17 different angles, but at the end of the day, you just keep on saying, I have to be home at 7. Or I have to pick up the kids at 8. And you repeat over and over the boundary or whatever it is you're trying to communicate with the narcissistic person. Don't let them sidetrack you. Don't let them try to provoke you and get under your skin. Do not share personal information about things that are not relevant with them, because they will try to use those things against you at some point. Any vulnerabilities or weaknesses you have, they will try to use those against you later. That's why it's essential to not even share them to begin with, especially once we know what they are. So again, the gray rock technique is a technique to disempower the narcissistic person. The goal is to not give them supply. It's to not make them feel powerful and superior. And it's for our own peace of mind as well. And our peace is valuable. Because again, ideally we would go no contact in these kinds of situations, but that isn't always possible. And in those cases, the gray rock technique can be an extremely effective technique. And sometimes a narcissistic person will say, gray rock is abusive, or gray rock is more like a silent treatment, but that really is just flipping the script and trying to provoke and gaslight you, another way to try to bait you or provoke you into an emotional reaction, which is all unnecessary. And in another video, I will go over what yellow rock is. Yellow rock is another technique that is similar to gray rock, and I'll go over the use case for yellow rock in the next video. But that is gray rock. That's the gray rock technique. Remember to see them as the emotional 5-year-old that they are. And remember the broken record technique. And remember, it's about being boring. Don't be interesting. Do not get too emotional. Do not jade. Do not justify, argue, defend, or explain. But be calm. Be dispassionate. And just keep things to logistics and keep things to the kids in the co-parenting scenario. That's Grey Rock. And if you got this far, please remember to like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel here if you haven't already. I talk a lot about narcissism here. I talk about healing the trauma bond. I talk about self-help. Talk about dating sometimes supplements, and I have an interview series that I do as well where I invite guests on the show. And we have some interesting conversations. They're not always just about narcissism, but I like to talk about things I find interesting, whatever they are. And that's what I do here on the channel. I'd love to have you keep on coming back to watch some more. And perhaps share this video with someone that you think would benefit from learning about the Grey Rock technique. Maybe they are co-parenting with a narcissistic person and they need help. Maybe they have a problematic coworker. Maybe they have a problematic family member. Perhaps this video could really help them. So with that, thank you very much for watching and have a great rest of your day.